Well, so at the end of last session, we experienced some rather interesting turns of events. Of course, the ship had literally just started to break up, and you decided, well, we got to get out of here. And the lovely Moralist, artificer extraordinaire, whipped up. Well, I mean, he whipped up 8 boats in about 10 minutes. I think that's a pretty lovely move right there.
Yeah.
That's how his group describes him, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
So yeah, the ship's breaking up. Moralist goes into some sort of artificer's trance, whips up 8 ramshackle rafts in 10 minutes, and saves a majority of the people on the ship, barring the poor boys down at the bottom. But they were already dead, so that's fine. Garrick focused on a spell to create a floating disc, which then could not move
Oh yeah.
because he was on the disc.
No, that's correct.
That is correct.
Also, it was 3 feet across.
Big enough for you,
Yes.
literally no one
I
else.
love that it got finished right when all the boats were like.
Yeah, there was not a second to spare.
You
I
were
was like,
just like-
ah, it's done! And I'm just standing on it in the middle of the ocean.
Haturo had jumped into the water, off of the beast, off the back of the beast, and lands in the water, cleansing himself of the taint of the little lice-like creatures that had exploded all over him,
Oh, yeah.
and was
Right.
picked up along the way. And Ali Khan made the interesting choice to jump onto the beast as it was moving away. For what reason, didn't make any sense at the time.
It was
We
cool.
see that it was honestly very cool. So the 3 plus their retinue of nobles made their way, mostly using the tide, also some paddles that had been whipped up in that artificer's trance, made their way to the beach, which was only a few miles away, a few nautical miles away. But they managed to make it to the beach, where, of course, there was a bit of an exchange between the nobles and Moralist once again, as he convinced them that, one, they would be perfectly okay in his capable hands, and convinced them beyond the shadow of a doubt that he had the world's best curative elixir, and that if only they were to drink it, they would be okay. Of course, your curative elixir was actually...
Wasn't it like seawater, like
It was seawater with like
watered
a
down
little,
potion?
with a little
Yeah.
bit of potion.
Yeah.
That was
seawater with a splash of healing potion in
And
it.
some like various herbs for taste.
Yeah, I don't even. It was just. Was it? Yeah, seaweed. It was,
Seaweed. Yeah, seaweed, right.
And after they drank it, and most of them puked, but they felt better, and so they were convinced of the efficacy of this man's medicines, and pledged something akin to fealty to Moralist, providing him with a number of jewels and trinkets of value in exchange for having saved their lives twice over. So that was fun.
It's the least they could do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. And Garrick, Moralist, and Haturo take command of this group of nobles and are leading them towards Arcadia Grange.
I think we were discussing like who we see about getting our money back for this voyage.
Also that. Also,
Oh, and we wanted to report
the
this
giant monster.
giant monster to the proper authorities, whoever that might be.
right. Simultaneously, Ali Khan rode the creature in, riding in style of a sort, maintaining her position on the beast's back until it approached land, at which point she hopped off and swam, allowing it to continue its journey inland towards a large caved cove. But she is making her way probably towards the city? Towards the city as well. A bit separated. But
Feel the
nevertheless...
Alicia Keys song there. Making my way to the city.
That's not Alicia Keys. That's Vanessa Carlton.
Ah, it's the same person. I think piano keys when I hear that song.
Okay, yeah.
So
Okay.
piano to Alicia. Okay,
Fair
sorry.
enough.
Can't derail this too much.
All right. So we pick up on the larger group.
Yeah.
Of course, there are the three of you, well equipped and well seasoned, as well as a retinue of 50 or so nobles.
What are all their names?
So there is Sir Roderick Eppingston the first.
JK.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay,
I jot
actually-
all these down because they're
I
gonna be
could
very
go-
important people.
Yeah.
Sir Roderick.
One of these.
If I make you do that, you're gonna start docking me experience points. I don't remember all their names.
I will. And you are absolutely correct. So, Sir Roderick actually approaches you, Moralist, and he says, "Well, sir, we've placed ourselves into your capable hands. How are we to make it to the city without being accosted?"
Well, don't worry. You guys shouldn't worry. We've got this dude over here with the knife, and I see I've got my buddy here as well, who's got a pretty good command
Flipping through a book.
of tactics and different things like that as far as how to keep us safe. So if you guys just you can keep your heads down.
I'm just like looking at him like, what?
You keep your heads down and just
Okay.
blindly follow me. You'll be totally fine.
Just sharpening my blade. Cold as a knife.
He's sort of noting these things as if he's going to go back and report them. You see the large group of people behind just kind of staring at him and the conversation that you're having, just like waiting for him to come back and report on the words of Moralist. So he's kind of like, okay.
Is there anybody in this group who looks like they can like scrap or fight or use magic? At all?
There are a decent few of the gentlemen who are carrying swords,
Okay.
dueling blades.
Sure.
A lot of them look like they're mostly for show, but in a pinch they could be used, certainly.
Okay. Why'd logically begin to arrange them on the perimeter of the group? Say, all right, women and non-combatants in the center.
Okay.
You men, take the outside.
They're gonna look at you, and then they're gonna look at Moralist,
Right. I'm gonna go. Well, you heard him.
and then just like snap to it.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna grab Roderick. Hey, Roderick, buddy. Hey, what did you say? What did you say you do here?
I am. He kind of puffs up and kind of sticks his chest out. I am a rather well-known merchant, procurer of fine goods of all kinds. My family, has been in Arcadia Grange since it was founded. We move all sorts of merchandise, whatever you need.
Excellent, excellent. So, and I'm gonna, as we're doing this, I got my arm around his shoulder, and sort of dropping back through the crowd. Like everybody's moving that way,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll go, hey, can you take the point for me? And you kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi.
So like I'm, kind of we're powwowing a little bit, but I'm fading to the back, mostly because I'm not really a fighter.
Right.
I'll let
Okay.
I'll let the fighters do the fighting, but
Okay.
just trying to pump the guy for information.
All right. So, what kind of things are you trying to find out?
I want to know if he does any dealings with. If he knows of any new magic or new creations, like new inventions that are going to hit the market soon, or anything that he's got his eye on.
So he kind of gives everybody a round to the eyebrow, and also slows up even more. Kind of fades back. It's like, can you keep a secret?
Me? Of course.
So he informs you that his family's actually come under a pretty new contract for this system. Okay? For for being able to do your night business indoors.
Your night business indoors, huh?
Yeah. You don't have to go outside to an outhouse.
So
Indoors.
right. So no more trekking through the cold.
No more trekking through the cold.
And what if we? When can I see a prototype of this? Is this something that exists?
Well, they're thinking of building a home with this system in it, specifically for people to come to and try it out.
Excellent. How would one get involved in this project, say, if I wanted to maybe take a look at it before it, open to the public?
Well, well, a man of your stature, of course we'd love to have you come by and try it out.
Excellent.
Try it out.
Well, once I assure you safe passage to the city, I think that's a fair trade. Would you say?
Absolutely. If we could, I mean, if you would be willing to endorse the system when it's released, we would, of course, pay you.
I would absolutely be behind you on that one, sir.
Excellent.
It's a deal.
It's a deal.
It's kind of endorsement deal, really.
For plumbing.
So yeah,
I'll dumb it down.
Aren't chamber pots a thing?
Yeah.
That's inside.
yeah, we're talking moving water here.
All right.
All right. So
One more piss bucket.
Yeah, there you go.
again, he
Piss bucket that
Kinda-
drains itself.
puffs himself out and walks back up into the group, looking very self-important. Everybody's like pestering for questions. What did you talk to him about? What did he say? And he's just kind of like, never you mind.
Plumbing's gonna lead to people getting lead poisoning. This is just...
All right.
Back to the
So
drawing board.
out front, we've got Garrick and Arturo, and you're kind of leading everybody.
Lead everybody?
Yeah, I guess so.
Sure.
And I guess we probably would have maybe met on the ship, so we at least know each other's names.
Most of these people know you.
Write that down.
You're a man from a fairly upstanding family. Even, I mean, not to say even if you're a dwarf, it's for these people, money's money,
Right.
and
sure.
you act like you've been there, so they respect you.
Gotcha.
So and coming from where they come from, magic is kind of part of the package. So
Mhm.
you being a up and coming potential star, you said you had been accepted to the school.
Pending a written and practical exam.
Yeah.
When I get
So is this a tough school to get into?
Yes.
Yeah. So they're kind of like, hey man, and a couple of them also sort of approach you with.
Well, I like to think that at least, like, because you said that inborn magic is like the big thing in this world.
Absolutely,
Right? That's so. I feel like people would probably respect wizards for learning it, but not too too much. But wizardry is probably not the easiest thing to pick up, so not everybody can do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we were talking about in this society, in this at least for this city and the people who think the way that they think, magic is pretty special.
Mhm.
The people who know magic are considered to be better, just better than other people. Now, at the top of the pecking order are the divine casters.
Pecking order.
At the top of the pecking order are the divine casters. These people have been blessed by the gods to have magic because of their deeds, because of their faith, because of their actions. And so these people are top of the pops, the best.
Mm-hmm.
Below them would be your sorceress magic. These are people who
Interesting.
have been blessed from birth. So they didn't earn it per se, but they are certainly
They're
touched.
looked upon as being blessed rather than cursed.
Exactly.
Like some settings.
Yeah. They've been blessed. Below them are the people who learn magic,
Right.
but still better than your everyday Joe Schmo,
Sure.
because it means that you may not have been blessed, but better than the average person, you've managed to obtain.
Somebody shooting like a rapid fire dart gun.
You probably didn't have service, and now you do, and you're getting all your notifications.
Listen, I'm really
Hold on,
popular.
your phone.
wait.
Yeah,
Wait.
I am really popular.
How many?
Good lord. 66, 4, 7, and 2.
Wow.
So, quiet that off.
How?
That's amazing.
So yeah, and then of course there's your other people. But so yeah, you'd still be well respected just because you have learned magic. And have you told anybody your story? Like.
I feel like if anybody asked me, I wouldn't be deceptive or
Mhm.
lie, but I wouldn't be like, hey, how you doing? My
Yeah.
name's Garrick.
So yeah, so I mean, the few people who know.
But if they took an interest, I'd be like, oh yeah, well, I come from here and there. And
Yeah. I mean, the few people who know, who've bothered to ask, they're impressed. Like, dwarves don't usually go out of their way to learn magic, so
Yeah, I'll explain to them, we do have wizards, but a lot of them specialize in evocation. They tend towards, controlling the elements. We have a lot of problems with lava flows. I won't bore you with the technical specifications, but, living in active volcanoes, you do need some geomantic mages to
yeah.
sort of help.
So they're super interested in that. They really are. Mostly because being able to move Earth is a valuable skill anyway.
Yeah,
the fact that
absolutely,
you're
yeah.
trying to go beyond that is
Oh,
also
I'll
impressive.
say, I don't have any problem with that, but that's not my thing. I applied to the Transmutation College.
Yeah.
And going to meet with this high transmographer Laura.
Okay.
Sent me a personalized
Yeah.
letter inviting me to come take the exam.
None of the people here know her personally, but they know of her.
Right.
And just being able to name drop that, again, eyebrows raised, like, okay, alright.
So I'd say it's just the college name, I guess, would just be the Arcadia Grange College of Wizardry.
Okay.
Like a plain name, but
Yeah.
some of the best schools are just blank university. Yeah.
It's the state university.
Yeah.
Alright, so Haturo, you're also helping to lead these people along the way.
Yep.
What are you doing?
So basically, what happened is the reason I was on that boat to begin with, and I'm explaining this to Garrick, and we're, telling each other
we can get
stories.
to know each other a little more.
So a little while ago, my family's village was destroyed by a demon,
Mm-hmm.
and it went by the name of Hashabi. And I am searching to find this demon to eradicate it from the earth.
I'll
as
say
a vengeance.
a demon. You say interesting, and I'll whip out a different notebook and start taking notes. Like, did you see what it looked like?
I was returning from the marketplace of a larger town, a good distance away from my village, and my village was alight, and I saw it leave.
Fire-based evocation. Okay. That's it. Did you get a physical description from any of the villagers?
They are all dead.
Oh, wow. I'm very
job.
sorry for your loss, my friend.
That's why I'm here. When I got to the village, I noticed that my home was burned down, and my family's, were all killed. I noticed off in the distance black sails with a red hand on a marking on them. So a type of pirate, I would assume. So I've been traveling here to see if I can find out more information.
Well, it's nothing I've ever heard of, but Arcadia Grange is definitely one of the largest ports, in the known world. So
That was
they,
the
they
thought.
should have your answer here. I would at least a rumor.
Alright, so you start leading these people through the forest. You're not quite.
Do they say like how close we are to people that have been here before?
Yeah, you're probably about 20 miles out.
Oh, okay.
It's not super
So we're
far.
thinking like it's gonna be a long day, but
It's gonna be a long day, but you'll
we could get there today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, it's a port city. You just didn't land in the right space.
Yeah, I got you.
So you
Yeah.
can travel the beach to get there. It curves around.
Julie now.
So if you if you travel the beach, it's going to take you longer. It's a roundabout way.
Oh, I see.
If
Okay.
you want to go
As
straight
the crow flies.
as the crow flies, you're going to be going through some forest land on the way to the city.
What do they recommend?
Well, they're nobles and they want to get back to their creature comforts as soon as possible, so they want to go through the forest.
Okay, is there any not being from here, is there any dissenting voices to that?
In the crowd,
Yeah.
there are a few women who are worried about their children. Who are like, well, forest can be kind of dangerous.
Oh,
The
well, I think in a large group, no animals are gonna bother us.
Yeah.
Well, we have 60 people in this group or something like that.
I'm gonna ask the group how many of them are locals and how many of them know of any.
Please say shortcuts.
No, I'm not gonna say short. Any beasts or monsters that might lie in the woods. Any dangers?
majority of them are locals. Probably about 80% of them.
Okay.
are locals.
Mhm.
You know, some people are merchants traveling in, but they're regulars in terms of the back and forth, heading to the city and heading back out. But they know that most of what's in the forest is your boilerplate creatures. You got
Right.
some bears, you got a lot of deer, squirrels. Nothing super dangerous. Nothing that would approach you in a group as large as you're in.
Right. In character, I would say, yeah, there's no problem going through the forest.
No.
We'll be
Yeah,
fine.
there's shade. What's
Yeah.
the temp out?
It's
It's like 80.
it's nice.
Okay.
Mhm.
Well, you know, nice.
Mid 70s.
It's a shady day would be nice. Let's walk up through the forest.
Okay. So, so can I get a formation? How are you taking these people through the forest? Because you don't have any paths right now. That's the other problem.
You want to?
You and me. We'll be in front,
You're
right?
gonna cover the rear guard.
Yeah, I'll be like the long vision.
Why don't we send like people that actually look like with calluses on their sword hand like back to cover the rear with him.
Okay.
That works.
And then we'll have the capable, at least, you know, people that are carrying a sword on the outside and have the more non-combatants in the center.
Okay.
So yeah, something like that.
Yeah. There you
All right.
Typical wagon train.
So yeah. So Alicon, you've hopped off the beast. You've reached the beach. You know this area. This is your preferred terrain. You know forest lands like the back of your hand, and if you don't know them, you know your way around them
Right.
at the very least.
This is
So
my
this is your forest. So you also know you can cut straight through the forest to get to the city. You know the common places where creatures tend to group up. You know the places that they avoid. You know the rivers. You know the trees. What would you like to do? Let's see. Grand scheme of things.
I'm gonna just go through the forest, obviously.
You're gonna cut straight through.
Yeah, I'm gonna go like up through here and like around this path. And
So, you're a good distance apart, but you're both heading sort of straight towards the city. Now you start to walk through the forest, okay, and you're by yourself. You have a keen ear for the types of sounds the forest should be making, and they're making those sounds. However, after moving about 5 miles, right, you can move fairly swiftly. You can get there a lot quicker than they can. After moving through about 5 miles, you notice that the sounds are starting to taper off. They're from a greater distance. You seem to be in some sort of dead zone in terms of animal life. Go ahead and give me a perception check, please.
which one was that one?
That
So do I
is based
roll
on
again?
wisdom. You roll a 20.
And you're proficient.
Are you proficient in perception?
I am.
Then you had your proficiency and then your wisdom.
So I rolled a 5.
Okay, plus 2,
Plus 2.
plus your wisdom is plus
Hey, that
2.
could make a difference.
So 9. So roll a 9. So you're walking through, and you notice that the sounds sort of start to fade away. But you're also aware that potentially these other groups are tromping through. You don't know if they've passed through this way. You don't see any signs of tracks, but you don't know if any of them are good at covering that up. You know there was a wizard with them, so potentially he could do that.
Yes.
And
I totally thought to do that.
you also think that it's possible that you've made a little bit more noise. You haven't been back here in a while, so maybe you're making a little bit more noise than you normally would, and they're keeping away from you. So you move through the forest. So again, you notice it, but you kind of ignore it.
Okay.
All right. So, group, you move about 5 miles in. This takes you a decent amount more time than it takes her. But eventually, you're hacking your way through.
Yeah, a little bit. There's some
Cutting the path for the,
There's a path right there.
So you're cutting the path through.
We make our own path.
You haven't heard any animals anyway, just at all.
Well, if there's 60 people, I assume we're hearing people. For the
Yeah,
most part.
you're hearing
Yeah,
people.
People talking and the clink of belongings and all that.
A lot of these people are
A mile off, dear go.
either still drunk, or hung
Right.
over.
Yeah. Right.
So they're making a lot of noise as they grow, and every now and then somebody stops and just kind of pukes in the underbrush and rallies, and they're just like, oh man.
Oh, do we have like? I guess I would say, I think we should probably ration water if we have fresh water, or look for a stream.
Yeah, there's
It's hardly anybody carrying
yeah,
water.
there's like nobody with any fresh water.
So I think we need to like that should be like the next priority.
Try and find a stream?
Try and find a stream or something. Yeah.
I can get survival checks from you, and I'll roll some survival checks for the people in the group since
Sure.
some of them know the area.
Which one's the survival check for you?
Based on wisdom.
Oh, I don't have survival.
I don't either.
I got 2.
I guess 7.
Are we all rolling?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Are we rolling?
Survival.
And add your wisdom bonus. Of -2.
Mine. I love it.
Will I roll 20?
Yeah. 17.
Well, that's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
Minus 2. 15.
15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was better than we did.
Yeah.
So, two of the guys in the group point in different directions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody else is just kind of like, I don't come out in the woods.
Right.
I stay in the city. But two of the more rugged guys who've got their calloused sword hands that look like they actually, get the business. One of them points off this direction, says, there's a stream, probably about 3 or 4 miles this way. Deer like to congregate around that. It's a fine hunting spot. And another guy, he points off in a different direction. He says, well, there's a pond off that way. I'd like to take some of my conquest there. It's quite pretty. Clear water. It's very clean.
Oh, okay.
So they point off in those directions. And more or less, you don't know the area, but you do recognize in some of the trees, there are these orchid-like flowers, and you remember from your days in school that these sorts of things tend to collect rainwater. So you could potentially try and collect some of that in an emergency, or if you wanted to get that. So.
Yeah, well, I'm going to do that. I'm going to
If we've walked 5 miles and none of these people have had anything to drink and a bunch of them are hungover, we need some water.
Yeah. Well, and I was thinking, as soon as we started down, I'm thinking we need water. So I'm randomly collecting up leaves and different things that I think can hold water.
Mhm.
And at this point, I can start to go around and tap these different orchids or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
find where water is sitting in the leaves and sort of get it to the people that need
Right.
the most.
Well, yeah, at least the people that are passing out.
Well, I need it first because I'm the problem solver. And I bring it up to you guys.
Say, you just made people drink seawater.
Right. Well, it helps with the hallucinations. I mean, it really gives them that extra bang for their buck. If you're into that sort of thing.
All right, you say so.
So we pass the water around, and I make sure that these guys are hydrated, and I make sure that I'm gonna try to direct the fighting crew, like the heavy duty guys, just because I need them at their best, just in case we run into something. And then I'll show them where the water is and give them all like a quick rundown on what they can and can't.
You give a quick seminar on how to drink from an orchard.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
You hold like this.
you find enough water to really just hit all the key people, and then give me a performance. Performance for your seminar with advantage because they're all listening
Is that
rapidly.
charisma?
Yes.
That's charisma, and then you roll 2 of them.
What's my advantage? Two.
So yeah, I mean,
16 plus 3. Are you proficient in performance? No. All right, so you get a 19. They're listening.
They're eating it up.
They really are. They're just kind of like, orchids. Never thought of that.
I'm gonna look at him like this is like a cockamamie horrible idea, and then tip the orchid down and get a surprising amount of water. And be like, oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
he
it.
does know what he's talking about.
it's nice and cool and refreshing. And as a matter of fact, the local orchids have a hint of minty flavor, so they
Ooh.
get that nice, cool sensation
A
down the
nice
throat.
menthol
Mojito.
would be-
Yeah, there you go.
And so they're just like, I
Call
mean,
these the Newport?
stars in their eyes. They're just kind of like, this guy, who is this? Why don't we know this guy? Where did he come from? Everybody wants to know you right now. It's kind of ridiculous. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
It is probably due to the psychoactive effects that this orchid is going to have on you
Oh no.
over the next 14 hours. I failed to mention that earlier. You will feel a little weird,
Are you serious?
man.
So, yeah. So, everybody's nice and watered up. They got a couple of hits of that water, and
Keep them moving.
yeah. So you want to keep it moving. All right. Alikan, you've moved deeper into the forests. You've traveled about 15 miles now. They stopped to get water. You've been able to do that on the move. So you pass by a stream, kind of chilling with the deer. Grab yourself a drink. You're fine. About 15 miles in, you crest one of your favorite hills, a nice lookout where you can stop and get a good view of the entire forest and, of course, the city, which isn't that far off now. You step up onto that hill and look out, and you can't see the city at all. You should be able to, most definitely, and you can't see it.
Okay.
What are you gonna do? You can't see the city.
Oh goodness. Okay, so I'm gonna know
Focus.
the direction. Like, all right.
You
I
know exactly
these
where-
woods. I
which
know
direction it's
exactly
supposed
where
to
I'm
be.
going, so I'm
Mhm.
gonna head for the city. I'm thinking that I know that there's a lot of magic that goes on in the city,
Mhm.
so I'm gonna think that maybe something's up and they have like made the city invisible themselves.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
'Cause they purposefully made it invisible because I know that I've heard rumors that's a safety feature.
Okay.
So I'm gonna head like straight
You're gonna
Towards
keep
the
going straight
city.
towards it.
as fast as I can. Like I'm quickening up my speed now.
Okay. Cool. So we head back.
Pocahontas running through the woods.
You're making good time now. Everybody's kind of watered up. If anybody feels a little thirsty, they just kind of run one of those orchids like, hey, we're gonna use this new skill we got. Morgan's taught me that. And they just kind of like grab some water.
I'm gonna like also be like drinking from a skin. Like, oh yeah, I brought this too.
I'm pretty sure I got
You
one
had
of
2
those, too.
pairs of gloves the whole time?
Well, somebody asked me for something, I'd be like, well, I mean, it's not water.
Of course. Of course.
I mean, you can have some if you want, but it's probably not going to help you very much, human.
So you're,
So
you're,
I'll say-
you're walking along, and up front, let me get perception checks.
Oh boy.
Okay. Well, I rolled a 1.
Everything's
Nat
fine.
1.
Everything's fine.
14, 15, 17.
17. So, Arturo, you've wandered a bit farther ahead.
Oh.
What
What have we go?
You wandered a bit farther ahead. You can still sort of hear the group behind you, but you're scouting.
Right.
And you hit a patch of forest, and you realize that despite there being a lot of people behind you, and the fact that you're not being super quiet yourself, you're kind of carving the path ahead, you can hear some things moving in the undergrowth alongside you on either side.
Oh.
They don't seem large,
Alright.
but there's a lot of it going on. It's a lot of scuffling going on in the pathways alongside you.
I'll crouch down, see if I can't look under, the trees and all that, and see if I can't, and plus I make myself smaller, so I'm harder to spot.
Okay?
I'm looking around, seeing if I can move the direction.
Alright, so you stop.
Yep.
All the noise stops around you. For a moment. Then you hear some sort of high-pitched voices speaking to each other. Now, they're high-pitched, they're kind of screechy, and there's a lot of them just chattering at each other.
Uh-huh.
Just jibber-jabbering. and you can kind of pick up snippets of where'd he go? Where'd he go? Go look. You go look. No, you go look. And out of the underbrush, you see what is unmistakably a goblin.
Yeah.
The only problem is he's like way smaller than any goblin you've ever seen before.
Okay.
Like, it's maybe 2 foot tall. It's so underfed, it's comical.
Uh-huh.
It's so thin
Wait, what?
and gaunt and just like
How's that comical, you monster?
it's a goblin. They're not
Oh,
people.
okay, fair enough.
They're not people.
Whoa.
Goblins aren't people. I said it. That's right.
That is correct. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are technically correct.
And that's the best kind of correct.
That's the most. Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, it's a goblin. It's tiny and it's underfed, and it's sort of searching through the underbrush for you with very quick sort of movements. It's kind of like freaking out a little bit, like looking around. It's obviously looking for you.
He's back in
And then it turns. It's like,
Do I see that he's armed in any way?
yeah. I mean,
Holding a
Two arms?
toothpick, pounding
in the
arms.
most in the most technical sense of the word, he is armed. He's got the saddest little knife that you've ever seen.
All right. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna like do a deep snarl, dragonborn, just like.
Give me an intimidation roll,
Yeah, there you
please.
go.
Charisma.
Oh.
It's a 4.
So immediately he pulls his knife, points at it directly where you are, and he's like, "Here he is!" And they just come flooding out, and they just surround you. They're all the same size.
It's gullible.
They're all wildly underfed, and they're just staring at you with little baby daggers, probably like 2 to 3 inches at most each.
Wow. Okay.
But there's
So
probably
butter
about
knives.
butter knives. There are probably about 20 of them, but they're surrounding you, and they're just like, gotcha.
All right.
So cute.
So they're just like, just surrounding you, like, found you.
Should I roll for initiative? Or?
Yes. They're not
They're not
attacking you.
that
bad.
They're just like, just kind of like, they're not saying anything. They're threatening you with their knives, but they haven't really demanded anything. They're just kind of like,
Up to 2 feet.
yeah, we
Alright.
found you.
Tag your head.
I'm gonna be like, what do you want?
And they kind of look at each other like, wait, what did we want?
So is he like scouting ahead, or have we caught up by this point?
He's still far enough ahead
Okay.
that, yeah.
Convenient.
Where the hype
They're just like, they kind of look around at each other like, wait, what
What do we want?
What did we want? We've never gotten this far.
This is like the shittiest bandit, like in training
Yeah.
course
They're just like,
possible.
that same one that came after you is kind of like pushed forward, and he's like, give me all the rich stuff. Yeah.
All right, hold on. Okay. I'm gonna say, well, what do you mean by rich stuff?
You know what we're talking about. The rich stuff.
No, you have to explain it to me. I don't understand your language very much.
Kind of looks around like, is this guy messing with me? Is he messing with me?
You want a taste of the knife?
The jewels, man. Jewels and coins.
I'm gonna say, oh, jewels, and I'll reach down and get some leaves and like roll right on top of his head. Oh, jewel!
Just like, he's like, get him, boys! And they all jump at you. I'm gonna need a
Get 'em, bye.
strength saving throw with advantage, please.
All right.
Book 'em, toys.
Is this a strength check?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Well, yeah, plus you have, it's,
Yeah.
so you get proficiency.
21, 22, right?
Ooh.
Yeah.
So, they all jump at you.
Yeah.
How do you bat them away?
I'm just gonna. So that first one, I'm just gonna grab him by the scruff of his neck,
Mm-hmm.
and then do like a spin move and knock him into all of his friends.
So you,
I'm gonna still hang on to him.
Just him as like a blunt
yeah,
object.
Don't do food stuff.
Like a 360.
I saw this coming, and so I just said, "Rawr."
and he's just like,
Yeah, with the 22.
all right, boss, you got us. What do you want us to do?
Just gonna, here, take Jews. I give him some more leaves, stuff in his shirt.
It's like, all right,
Shit.
boss, I hate to be the one to tell you this. Them ain't jewels.
What? I'm just acting dumb.
Jewels.
Oh, Jewel?
Rip.
Read Dodo? I'm gonna take a stick and then like shove it, like
No.
just put a bunch of sticks
No.
in his shirt.
No. We can't have this guy be the boss.
Dodo.
We can't. Yeah, he's right. It's at this point that Garrick, you sort of you in the front of the group reach him, and he's standing there surrounded by 20 tiny, underfed goblins,
Okay.
holding one with sticks and leaves stuffed down it. And he's going, Ritaldo!
At this point, I'm gonna notice him coming and just switch straight to common and be like, "Hey, look what I found."
And they're just like, what?
I don't know. They want gems or something. I don't know. They want gems and riches. I gave them leaves and sticks. What do you think we should do with them?
What in Odin's beard have you been doing up here?
They jump me in. Something like that.
Give me that.
Alright, here.
Just. Alright, I'm gonna
Alright.
pick him up by the scruff of the neck and just narrow my eyes at him and be like, what were you doing, Grobby? I'm saying the dwarf word for goblin.
None of your business. We were dealing with the boss.
Excuse me?
You heard me. And he's gonna hold out his knife. He's kind of like swinging there, and he's like, yeah.
But no, I'm gonna hold up the point of my staff to like his throat and just like manifest a firebolt. You want to try that again?
What I was saying, boss, was that we were dealing with this schmuck over here.
I'm just gonna keep picking up and just shoving leaves in their shirts. Go.
I don't know if he's with you, but he's an idiot, boss. What do you want us to do to him?
Boss.
Wait, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, did he just call me an idiot?"
He did.
I'm gonna drop the one I have in my hand, walk over, grab him by his two legs, and we'll stretch him out.
Alright. I got him by his arms.
Yeah.
It's like, boss. Let's think this thing through.
Alright, listen. What is your name? Who are all of you? Why are you coming up to our group? Why, also, most importantly, why shouldn't we kill you all right here and now?
In order.
Good.
Georgie. Yes.
Alright.
These are the Georgie boys. We're all named Georgie, see?
No, I don't see. What do you mean?
I'm named Georgie. That one over there. And the guy, that one goes, Georgie, at your service. He points to like the one next to him. Georgie! This guy.
Okay, Georgie.
Yeah,
The Georgie boys, all named Georgie.
that's right.
Okay. What were you doing?
Trying to get some rich stuff, boss.
Okay. Trying to get some rich stuff. So you're bandits.
That's a word we try to avoid, boss. It's,
You know what we do in the Dwarven Empire to bandits?
I assume we give them rich stuff.
Ooh, no.
No, I take my scruff out of your hand and like, yup, we certainly do. And shove these in his mouth.
Boss, could you get this idiot away from me? No offense, boss.
What's up with the leaves?
I don't know. I'm just doing a thing.
Oh, I mean, it's hilarious. I'm not criticizing.
Yeah.
But okay, well, okay. So you want rich stuff?
Yeah.
And you're going about this all wrong. I mean, you're not gonna. You think you can attack someone like Haturo here and take his rich stuff? Or you can ask nicely and he'll just give it to you? That's not how it works.
I'm not following.
Okay. I'll just shake him out of his leaves and then like set him down and be like, okay, look. And I'll take the little baby knife out of his hand and be like, this is not how you do it. And I'll toss it behind me.
Whoa!
And I'll
Whoa!
unsheath my my short sword
Mhm.
and give it to him.
So it's like Claymore for him.
Yeah.
My Wakazushi.
So he grabs it in two hands, and for a second he starts to overbalance, but then he kind of like holds it up. He's like, "What do you think, Georgie?" And he like slings it over his shoulder, and all the rest are like, "Yeah, I like it."
And I'll pull mine out and hold it at a proper stance.
He's gonna try and mimic you.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, boss isn't such an idiot after all." He's kind of like holding it. He's like, "Can I keep this?"
No.
You said I could get rich stuff if I asked for it,
No, I did not say that.
Georgie. And all the ones are like, "Yeah, he said it."
So I've been backing the crowd up a little bit.
I'm just up here like pinching the bridge with my
Circling.
nose. Like I don't know what to do with these things.
So these guys are after rich stuff, huh? All right. So what have you guys got so far? What have you gotten out of your out of this endeavor so far? Like what have you got to your name?
He turns to look at Garrick, kind of eyes up at Turo. Should we show him, boss?
Yes, answer him and show him whatever you have to do.
Boss, I'm sensing some hostility right now. You need to relax. It's not good for you.
Yeah, boss, chill
These
out.
creatures are so verbose for not having a basic concept of banditry and what rich stuff constitutes. This is actually kind of interesting.
I'm gonna go to him and be like, yeah, all they want is leaves. That's the rich stuff.
So you guys are after leaves in the forest? and
No, that's
the-
him. That's him. All right. And they
Look,
they're
they
gold and
want to
red.
be bandits, but they don't really seem to have a concept of what to do to get to that.
we don't like that word. Every time people call us that word, they attack us.
Look here,
We're
bandit.
not that thing.
Show me your loot.
Hey. Okay.
So do you want to be? Well, you can't just ask people for stuff. If you want to get rich stuff the proper way, you need to give them something in return. You need to perform a
You
service.
need to trick them into
or-
giving things to you.
Whoa,
it's really
whoa,
a
whoa,
simple
whoa.
thing.
No, what? No. You perform a service or provide a good to them in exchange for coins or gems or whatever you prefer.
Right. You perform a service
There's no
in exchange
quotes.
for coins and
They
gems.
don't. They're not going to understand. They're probably illiterate.
Georgie's paying attention to them. Just snatch the sword, the short sword out of his hand, and put it back in its sheath.
So the first Georgie kind of snaps his fingers, and a couple of the ones come out of the back, and they got a bag.
Oh boy.
I'm like,
What is this?
this is our loot boss.
Roll the trinkets table.
Um,
That would be hilarious.
Absolutely. Actually, you know what? That's exactly what we're gonna do. Well, the first thing they pull out is a set of teeth. That's just, it's just a set of teeth, and that's the crown jewel.
You know that is the currency for orcs in Warhammer 40k.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They trade teeth.
So yeah, they pull out a set of teeth.
What do you got there?
Teeth.
Some teeth? Oh, what? Ooh, that's a canine, huh? Right.
Yeah.
Those are those human teeth?
We don't know.
Okay, so
We just kept them. They
so you
look cool.
foraged these in the forest here. Okay. All right. So it looks like you guys have been up to some things. What else you got in there?
So they open up the bag. They open up the bag, and the slightly orange speckled one
I
is
love
going
this
to see.
table.
So 98. They've got a glass jar containing lard with a label that reads Griffin grease.
Ah, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's mostly empty, and it's got little hairs stuck on the outside.
Oh. Loot.
Yeah.
They have a tooth from an unknown beast. That is that set of teeth.
Okay, sure. Wow, it's like it was meant to happen.
Yeah, right.
They've got a 1 ounce block made from an unknown material. It's actually super dark, like almost seems to be absorbing light.
I'm gonna say, that's not rich guy stuff. I should probably hold on to that for you.
Like, that's not rich stuff, boss. Ah, we don't need that.
Nah.
Man, toss it at you.
It's not shiny at all.
Was that graphene?
Super black.
They have got a needle. Just a needle.
Well, I mean that's a trade good. It's not worthless. That's okay. You're getting warmer here, guys.
And they have a bit of folded cloth. That way.
Again, you're getting the idea with those.
Yeah.
They're like, rich stuff, boss.
Right.
Rich
So
stuff.
how are they dressed? Are they like raggedy clothes? Really raggedy or?
No, I mean they're wearing like basic.
They have a concept of modesty.
Yeah, they're wearing basic sackcloth bags that have holes in the sides for them to stick their arms out.
Okay.
Okay.
It's like you do realize with all these materials you could be making clothes.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
You could
You know,
make clothes.
Clothes.
You can look like you, boss.
Yes. I'm just lock eyes.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
yes, that's right. Have you ever been to the city that's like right over there?
Yeah, that's the problem, boss. That's why we need the rich stuff. You can't get in anymore. You can't even see the place unless you can pay.
Right.
What?
So you guys want to get in the city? Let me ask you. What do you guys feel like about quitting the bandit life? And maybe I could give you guys some jobs.
Hey, not bandits. Don't like that word. Every time people use that word, we get beat up.
Well, I think they might be okay with actually performing a legitimate job. They just want rich stuff.
Yeah.
Am I off base here,
He
guys?
holds up the
Georgies?
teeth. Holds up the teeth. Rich stuff.
All right. But what do you mean when you say you have to pay to see the city? What do you mean by that?
Can't see the city. Haven't been able to in like 2 weeks now. You can't get in unless you got money.
What? I'm gonna look at the nobles in the group. Like, what is he talking about?
I'm gonna go back and get Sir Roderick and bring him up
Yeah.
to the conversation. Say, Roderick, this gnome creature here, this goblin.
Are there any gnomes in the party?
There's at least one, and he looks furious.
Yeah.
It's like, did you say? What'd you say?
You all look alike. I'm sorry.
He is like apoplectic, and he's just like, and everybody else is like, I mean,
I'm sorry. You guys look alike. It's honest mistake. Say, Roderick, this goblin
Wow.
says that you've not been able to see the city for some time now, and that we have to pay to get in. And what do you know about that? Is that normal?
says, yes, it's a rather interesting story. And as he begins to tell it,
And we're back.
We're gonna have to
You
check
do
the
your
terms of service to make sure we're allowed to actually.
all right. So, Alicon, you've decided to double your pace and you're heading towards the city.
Yes.
Can I get one more? Actually, can I get an Arcana check?
Arcana. Is that one a D20? I
Plus,
cannot roll tonight. I can take my dice.
plus intelligence.
1.
So you got a 6.
Yeah.
So you're making good time. You're borderline sprinting through the woods, just kind of like hopping from tree to tree.
Uh-huh.
And midair,
Hopping from tree to tree.
midair, you hit a wall.
Okay.
You hit a wall. Now, luckily for you, it's a wall of arcane force and not a literal wall, and so it more catches you in midair.
Okay.
And you almost feel like you're in a spider web.
Oh no.
You're just kind of there, frozen in place,
Oh no.
mid-jump.
Oh no.
And you hear, in the back of your head, identification, please.
Alicon Airway.
And you hit, like, you can kind of feel a small buzz
You don't need any.
as,
I don't think that's gonna work.
and it says, please present identification paperwork.
I'm gonna look at my Explorer's pack, and I don't know what's in theirs.
Not identification paperwork.
Is there any papers in there?
There's a couple of sheets of parchment, but it's blank. And no, you don't have any.
I lost it.
You hear the buzzing again, and you are tossed back. Not super hard, but hard enough. Let me get a dexterity check.
Okay,
There you go.
better. 16.
plus.
And I have dexterity.
So yeah, you kind of like flip in midair and just like land on the ground, and you're okay. But now that you've encountered it, you can actually feel the buzz of arcane energy in front of you.
Okay.
You
It's
can
like a bug zapper.
like as you're looking through, the forest in front of you is kind of distorted a little bit, and you realize the reason for that is because you're looking at a reflection, minus
Yeah.
you.
Alright, so I'm going to like assume that this is what's walking the city
Mm-hmm.
and like try to like follow it around as far as I like can.
So yeah, you go just as far as you can, and for probably a good 3 or 4 miles, you don't find anything. Like it curves. You can tell
Okay.
it's curving around the city, until suddenly you can see where you know the like main thoroughfare, the main road that enters into the city, and the road just ends.
Okay.
And at the end of the road, there's a pretty big arch.
Okay.
Pretty big archway. And there's all kinds of symbols carved into it. And the stone is a very, 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 like, opaque black.
Okay.
Like, there's no light reflecting off of it. It is just of a black stone. And you can the only thing you can see is that there are the symbols carved into it. And beyond that, more
Okay.
forest.
I'm gonna walk like up towards that doorway.
Okay. As you reach the doorway, you see from nowhere, out of that arch, step 2 guards,
Okay.
and they're wearing the trappings of the city guard.
Okay.
And you see them, and they kind of like stop you, and they look you up and down. They're like, I'm gonna go ahead and guess you don't have any identification papers, and I'm gonna guess you're what pinged off the wall a couple miles off.
Yep, that would be me.
Seems about right. So what's your business?
I grew up here, or right outside of here. I was coming to the Hunters Guild
Mm-hmm.
to talk to the guy in charge there about something that I saw. It was very important. And I've been gone for a while, so you guys put this up. I didn't know to bring any identification papers or to get them. This has to be recent. It's been at least 3 months since I've been back.
Mm-hmm. 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 So, you know some folks over at the Hunters Guild?
It
You probably
hasn't
gotta-
changed hands yet.
No, not recently, but surely you've got some sort of, the Hunters Guild doesn't do anything for free, so I assume you've also got a bit of coin on you. Are you ready to pay the toll to enter the city?
What's the toll?
Is the guard a troll? Sorry.
He's got a troll face on right now.
Yeah.
It's only 50 gold.
Problem.
Easy.
Okay. Like I said, I've been out on my own. I don't have 50 gold.
You don't have 50 gold.
I don't have 50 gold.
You know people in the Hunters Guild, and you've been in the city before, and you don't have 50 gold.
Well, I just come into the city every now and then. No, I don't have 50 gold.
What reason do you come into the city
Wow.
every now and then?
Just to check back with my family.
Just to check back with your family. Who lives in the city?
Yes.
They in there now?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let me tell you who I am.
Okay.
So, a while ago, years and years ago,
Okay.
a whole little town just, a big beast came, killed everybody, a little girl was left. That was me. Okay? The elves, they raised me, and I can talk to you in Elvish if you would like. Obviously, I'm not an elf. What do you want? What do you want from me to prove who I am?
So the entire town was destroyed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Entire
I
town.
do remember hearing about that. I also heard that there was nobody left.
I was the only thing left. Very little hiding
So how's your family here if you were the only thing left?
because I was wandering through the forest and the elves found me and they
See.
took me back with them and they raised me.
So your family's elves,
Yes.
and they live here.
Yes.
In the forest or in the city?
I'm gonna switch to Elvish and say, in the city, you idiot. And then go back. Believe me yet?
I don't know what you just said. I'm gonna take it as an insult.
It was not an insult. Please, what would you need for me to prove who I am?
Oh.
Besides identification papers.
50 gold.
Okay. I don't have 50 gold. I have 10. Can I give you 10 now and I'll bring you back the other 40? Like.
Yeah, I've heard that song before.
You have a layaway program.
Listen, miss, I get it. A lot of people trying to make their way into the big city where they can become famous.
I don't want to become famous. All I want to do is go to the Hunters Guild and tell them about the beast that went into the cave so that way I can get out of here.
Kinda
And
looks-
go get said beast, okay?
he goes and looks over his friend like, the beast that went into the cave. Yeah.
There was a ship that was heading here.
Uh-huh.
Yep, ship got destroyed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And who was on that ship?
A bunch of people. There was passengers.
A bunch of people. Passengers
Maybe
even.
40 of them.
Yeah, passengers. I heard it.
40
How
whole
many decent
passengers. 40 whole passengers on the ship. You know any
Yeah.
of their names?
What's the pilot?
Oh, so yeah, you would know the ship's captain. So you name the captain. Everybody knows him. Come on,
And
lady.
Okay, name the guard. I named the guards that were on the ship. Then they hired me, and I guarded for passage here.
And where are all those people?
The ship was destroyed.
You weren't a very good guard then, were you?
Wow.
Well,
God.
did you not hear about the beast?
So, how,
Beast ripped the ship.
so how'd you escape the beast?
I jumped on it and walked over it.
She jumped on it. Of course she
I know
did.
you don't believe me.
She jumped
jumped
on
I'm
it.
just gonna like go and sit on like a stump and just like I'm just gonna give up. Just sit there. I have nowhere else to go. I have to get in.
It's like no loitering. Gonna need you to get off the main path before good upstanding folks see you,
And what are you gonna do
Wow.
and our property values start going down.
if I don't? And what are you gonna
Wow.
do if I
Has the
don't?
city been gentrified?
Yeah.
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 So
Oh Lord.
listen, lady, we don't want any trouble. It's
Mhm.
just if you're gonna come into the city, you need to have the proper paperwork,
Okay.
somebody to vouch for you, or you gotta have the toll that
Okay,
says
who
that
can-
you're not
who
some
can I
sort
get
of
to
bum.
vouch for me?
I
That to
don't
be
know.
outside of the wall to vouch for me? Can't I tell you to get somebody who is inside?
We
and
can
have
file a
them?
report. Give us a name. We'll file a report
Okay.
when they vouch for you. If you still, I mean, you can't stay out here. You got to go somewhere else. But if
I'm
you
just
come
gonna
back,
start naming people like that I know. Like give them like 10 names.
all right. So, what you give like the leader of the Hunters Guild? who
Yeah,
knows
and
you,
like the
The elves.
elves that
the elves that live in the
elves
city.
live in the city.
All right. So you give them
The
a list of
highest
names,
people that I can think of to give them that would know who I was.
and he's like,
And tell them Ollie. That's what they call me.
all right. And he's just kind of like, he's not writing any of this stuff.
Yeah, I
He's
got
not writing
it.
it.
Don't worry,
Okay.
boss, I got it.
Yeah.
The little
Okay.
assistant guy is writing
All
it
right.
down.
Yeah.
Good. All right.
If
So
you can even write.
listen. Our shift ends in a couple of hours.
He's a little squirrely guy.
And when our shift's over, we'll file the report. It'll go to central
Wait,
paperwork.
wait. You're gonna stay until your shift is over.
I
You're
mean,
gonna stay after. That doesn't make you any
Yeah,
sense that you
we're,
would stay.
we're on duty. You deaf broad.
we can't just leave our posts. Some of us have jobs, and we like to keep them so we can actually have money. Unlike some people who don't have any and try to enter cities without the proper paperwork.
I don't care. Do whatever you need to do to
Alright.
get me in.
Listen, I was trying to tell you what was gonna happen.
Okay, just
Alright.
do it.
So, lady, I'm trying to give you a timeline here. I know-
Give me, okay, a day? Do I have to stay out here for a whole night?
A
Like,
day,
what do I have to
Sophia.
do?
A day. I don't think you've ever been in the city if you think central paperwork gets anything done in a day. But they'll send out the notices. Listen, just find 50 gold and we can let you in.
Where am I going to find it? We're in the middle of the forest.
I don't know, maybe swim out to that ship. they
No,
found and,
the ship is gone. Just get back to work.
Wow.
And they just kind of like, hey, you're going to have to leave. We're going to come out here and check in about 5 minutes. You please be gone.
I'm going to be right here. You go ask the people and let me in.
Okay, well, cool. And
You
they
should have asked for a manager.
They kind of move back into the portal, and like 5 minutes later, you see one stick his head out.
Hi.
All right, of course. He sticks his head back
Now I gotta file an incident.
in. So you sit out there, and like people start coming by, like
Okay.
people from in the surrounding area start coming by, and
I'm
like
just waiting to see someone I know.
You're like, hey baby, let me get 50 gold to get in the
No.
city.
so these guys step out every time. Like some people, they pony up to 50 gold. Some people pull out like a kind of passport looking book.
Uh-huh.
That's got
I'm going to stop one of
artist's
them.
image. All right.
All right, I'm going to be like, okay, do you know where the Hunters Guild is?
So who do you stop? There's like all kinds of people. Who are you gonna try?
Someone who looks is carrying in hunter things that they would take to the Hunters
And stop? All
Guild.
right. So there's a man and his young daughter,
Mhm.
and they're walking. They got a cart.
Okay.
On the cart is a bunch of furs.
Okay.
And they're both dressed in furs. And the man's got a huge longbow
Okay.
slung over his shoulder, and the girl, she's got a short bow and a spear on her back. And they're moving through, and you can see they're about to step up. They're waiting in a line. It's actually kind of backed up. As it's gotten fairly late in the day, you can tell people are heading back into the city. So you step up to them.
Okay.
Okay. What are you saying?
Excuse me, sir.
Mhm.
Do you know where the Hunters Guild is?
Of course.
Okay.
Spend most of my time there.
Could you do something for me? Pretty please. Please, please. I have 10 gold. I will give you all of this 10 gold if you could do this. I need to get into the city. I need to speak to the people in the Hunters Guild. Can you give a note to the person in charge?
Oh, I'll do that for free. That's
Okay.
wouldn't do to take 10 gold from a pretty woman like you for no reason.
Okay. So I'm gonna, on my parchment that I have, I'm gonna just write a note like, hey, it's Ollie, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm outside of the gate. They won't let me in. Don't have identification paperwork or 50 gold. And then sign it, like, with my name, Ollie Khan Arrowway. So it's gonna say, hey, it's Ollie, and at the end, sign it, Ollie Khan Arrowway. So they can put that it's me.
Okay. It says, all right. I suppose that I can do that for you. I'm not sure. I mean, I'll be heading straight there, so that shouldn't be a problem. I don't know who's going to be there, but I'll give it to the first person I see who's in, you know.
Someone that's in charge,
Yeah,
yes. Someone
absolutely.
that could get me into the city.
All right. And he says, just in kind of straightens up his furs. Just in case you were wondering, I'm Jasper Razzle, and this is my daughter Ellie, and we'll of course be looking for you inside. Ellie surely looks up to you, and he kind of like nudges his daughter with his knees. It's just like, yeah, Dad, she's great. Just kind of rolls her eyes.
Yes, I'm Ollie Khan, but it is very nice to meet both of you, and thank you so much.
Absolutely. Yes, yes. And they kind of move on their way, and he keeps like looking back over his shoulder at me. It's kind of like nudging his daughter, and she's just like, stop.
Whatever. And I'm not really paying that much attention. Like, wave every now and then just to, urge him to want to give my note.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you really want.
Yeah.
So
Manipulate. Yes.
Oh my God.
as he's moving through the gate, he sees, you see the guards,
Mhm.
and they like stop him and pull him aside, and you see him like lean in, and they're talking to him, and he points back at you and like waves.
I'm not gonna wave.
He looks a little dejected at that, but you can see him kind of nod, and And he shows them the note,
Oh God.
and they're just like,
I'm like, you want to get rid of me, don't you?
he was kind of like, just like waving through. So yeah, he goes through with that note. So let's see. Yeah, it takes him a bit of time to get through the city with his cart, and he's he doesn't want to seem too eager, so he takes his time, plays it cool.
He wants to look cool.
So he takes his time, plays it cool. But eventually he does, make his way to the guild, and he finds not the leader of the guild, but the person who's in charge of like tanning the furs that people bring in, and so he gives them that, and they recognize your name immediately. Like, what's you waiting? Oh, right,
The new
thing. Okay, well, so they actually send a runner for you, and that that person is a young apprentice to the guild, gets to the gate with a note for the guards, explains who you are, and the guards just sitting there like. So you see like the guard looking at you and kind of sighing and looking at you and just still moving people through and not acknowledging you, and then once the last group is through,
can't delay any longer.
just kind of look at you and they're like, all right, come on.
Thank you.
Yeah, come on.
Don't cause any trouble.
I'm not. I'll be gone, but I'll remember to take my paperwork.
I'm writing your entrance down. I'm logging it.
Okay.
Don't cause any trouble.
I won't. You can log it. That way next time I come, if I don't have enough money to enter the city, I will remember the state and you can look it up and you can find me and let me in. Okay? You have a great day and I'm going to walk off.
Have a great day, sir.
Yeah. You can't see, but behind you, just like. Yeah, so you enter the city.
The layout.
Okay,
Good
great.
job. All right.
I'm headed towards the
You gotta
Hunters
do what
Guild.
you
Yeah, go
gotta
straight
do.
to it. Alright. So, as you enter the city, you notice there are a huge number of changes. Like, it's only been 3 months since you were gone,
Yeah.
right? But you can see that where the wall of the city was, it's gone. Like, all the walls
wow.
that used to protect the city are down. They've been
Yeah.
completely removed.
Wow.
In their place are huge pylons of that same black stone
Oh,
that you
yeah.
saw as the outer ring. And you can see that from that stone is projecting like this, is that force field that you can see. You can
Yeah.
see outside of it, but there's a very clear distortion
Yeah.
as you're looking out, and you can see the forest surrounds.
Mm.
But one of the things that is the most out of place is the fact that in the sky, like you turn around and look, above the arch, you can see that the space above the arch has just images from other places.
Huh.
You can see an image of the port with all the ships coming in. In the center, you can see an image of the lighthouse that brings all of the ships in. And on the far side, you can see an image of the base main government building in the center of town. And you can see all of these as sort of a pulled back image that kind of shows the entire scene, and they're just kind of there in the air
Wow.
above the gate.
It's different. But I'm gonna still, I'm gonna take note of it, but, I'm on a mission. To
Okay.
get to the Hunters Guild.
So you start making your way towards Hunters Guild, noticing, the people around. Again, things are very different. All of the buildings look very clean. All of the people look very clean.
Just like North Korea.
And there are no beggars. None. Normally, you would see some. There are no, barefoot children just running through the streets, playing.
Snatching purses.
There's no...
Well, yeah.
There's none of that.
It's not what I remember. at
It's
all.
not what you
Yeah.
remember at all. This is a
Okay.
city, but there don't seem to be any poor people
Yeah.
anywhere.
Okay.
So, you head towards the Hunters Guild.
Yeah.
You're on your way. You're taking into account everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And Sir Roderick starts his tale. And he says, "Well, sir,
Starlight.
have you ever lived? I assume a man of your stature has lived in a large city before. You've lived the high life. You look like a man of means.
Certainly, I've lived all over many cities of this great known world.
None less is to be expected. I'm sure that you've seen to varying degrees the riffraff that tends to clog up the streets and the side alleys, the darker places.
I'm gonna stop and think about the dark places that I've been to and just go through just the filthiest places in this whole. And I'm gonna just go. Yes. Indeed.
It was decided, nearly unanimously, that we didn't want those people around, clogging up our streets and making nuisances of themselves, and certainly taking up space that could be put to better use.
Yeah. So
Can we hear this conversation?
Is
Or
there-
they're at the back
Are
or
we-
the front now?
No,
Oh.
you're all in the same space now.
how
'Cause
far
he
did we
pulled
go?
Sir Roderick up.
How far did you go with this? What are we talking here? Are we, just getting rid of the illegal prostitutes, or do we still have, illegal gambling, or just the illegal gambling, or is it just, what have we done here?
Oh no, of course we still have our brothels and our gambling houses. Just none of those low rent places with the pockmarked wenches.
Oh, certainly. I mean, yeah, I could totally
Wait a
see
minute.
that.
So what did you do with all the poor people
Well, we evicted them, of course,
and sent them where?
elsewhere. We weren't really concerned with where they ended up. They're resourceful people, obviously not resourceful enough.
I'm gonna look at everybody's kind of like, is everybody like nodding and like,
Yeah,
oh,
everybody
yes,
around there,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
Obviously.
I'm gonna look at Hattori and be like, is this making sense to you?
Oh, not at all.
Well, that's the worst thing I've ever heard. What's wrong with you?
What?
Where's your heart?
Right here.
How can you just evict people from their homes just for the crime of not having enough money?
Well, if they had money, we wouldn't have done it. And so, not a problem.
So you just cast them out of the city?
We gave them the opportunity to earn their way, to stay,
Doing what?
whatever. They just had to make the proper amount of gold.
So I'm gonna lean down to the goblin.
Well, that doesn't sound too bad.
No.
So did people start making the proper amount of gold?
Some, yes.
What?
Through hard work.
So where did the people you evicted actually go? You just sent them outside the walls?
Oh, the walls don't exist anymore. We took those down. More space, of course.
What do you
No.
mean the walls?
We don't need walls. We don't need walls.
You're not afraid the city could come under attack?
No.
And why do you think this?
Well, most people can't see it. Can't assault what you can't see, can you?
Okay,
I'm gonna
I'm gonna
pick up
give
one of
you-
the goblins.
give you
and-
one fact that may shed some light on why we're confused.
Mm.
We have never been to the city.
Ah, well then.
Yeah.
When we removed the walls, our High Arcanist decided that what we should do is place up something of a defensive barrier. A series of pylons made of a material that he fabricated that essentially projects whatever we'd like. And so if we'd like the city to look like a fortress, that's what it looks like. If we'd like the city to disappear, it's gone.
Who
So you
constructed
have a-
these pylons?
The High Arcanist.
So he constructed a web of magical inscribed stones that project an illusory bubble around the whole city.
You can see very clearly he understands about half of what you just said, but he's nodding and kind of stroking his beard. Yes.
I've never heard of anything like that. That's amazing, frankly.
Yes, High Arcanist Membulus is talented.
Well, it is technically amazing.
He is
But-
one of the most renowned mages in the world. I've read several of his treatises on various magics. He is rumored to be a master of illusion.
Quite. And so, the city becomes what we need it to be. Of course, it allows us to keep out the riffraff, as it doesn't just serve as a projecting barrier, or projected
You know their
image.
You know their
I'm not sure what you mean.
Living souls who, live in harmony with one another.
yeah. What he's saying.
And I'm sure they're living in harmony with nature now. They were already very dirty people. What difference does it live in a city, live out in the sticks?
So, okay, let me
It's
think
the same.
about this. How many did you end up kicking out?
Oof.
In comparison to the ones you let stay.
Let's see. If we removed about 50,000, we let probably 2,000 or 3,000 stay.
So there's 2,000 or 3,000 people living in this city
You kicked
with
out
enough money.
and you kicked out 48,000, give or take, of people with no means to support themselves into the wilds.
No means to support themselves might be a stretch. They have hands.
Okay.
They can
Forgive me.
build.
And you've never heard from any of them since.
Well, no. They can't make their way back into the city. And they know better than to bother good folk traveling the roads.
What do you mean?
They know better than to bother good folk traveling the roads. We assume that they're out there somewhere doing whatever it is that the riffraff does, but we've not been accosted by them upon roads and so.
Plotting revenge, probably.
Yeah. I'm gonna stoop down to one of the
So
goblins.
you essentially created an army of people probably hell-bent on taking revenge and murdering all of you.
Yeah, say no.
Yeah, I'm gonna bend down to one of the Georgies. Hey, have you seen, people outside the walls?
Oh, this should be a wealth of information.
I mean, we see people all the time, boss.
Yeah, but like people who kind of dress like you, but like taller.
I'm not sure what you mean, boss. Like,
I think you're barking up a dead tree.
Where did you come from?
well, we came from the city, boss. And
So 3 months ago, you guys got kicked out of the city.
I mean, kicked out's a harsh word. We left, and then when we tried to come back, it was gone. And
So
then,
you left on your own accord.
what's that mean?
You left under your own free will. One day you decided to leave
No.
without anybody forcing you to do so.
Now they did.
Well, no.
Old boss told us to go, so we went.
Who's old boss? And don't say old boss.
I mean, I'm not actually sure. You know Georgie? Do you remember? I don't. It's a
Do
tough
they,
one.
do they have like a very similar timbre of voice?
Oh, yeah.
Too?
They've got the memory of koi fish.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, give me a perception roll, please.
All right. Well, that was almost a 19. Instead, it is a 5.
So, not only do they have the same timbre of voice, but you kind of see, they all kind of look
Like
the same.
exactly the same.
Like,
Okay, I knew there was something up with these guys. All right, Georgie's,
what up, boss?
not your boss. Hey. He's your boss.
All right, Chief.
I think you can handle these guys better than I can. They're gonna drive me crazy.
I'm all over it. So,
Yes.
you guys got kicked out of the city, right? Like all you guys.
We left. It's all a misunderstanding, boss. If they knew that we were supposed to be there, we wouldn't have a problem. But we don't have the proper paperwork.
Look at that one. Look at that one. Look at that one. They all look the same. There's some kind of magic shenanigans going on here. They're probably some wizard's pet project that got kicked to the curb.
Yeah. So yeah, they don't have.
Although
any-
who would dabble in this? Just what a waste of time.
What a waste of
magic.
Yeah, these guys could be put to work immediately.
As old boss used to say, a little dabble do ya. And I
Your
guess
own
that's
boss, Don Draper.
and I guess that's us. Hey.
What's happening here? The whole world's gone insane since I left my hometown.
Okay. So, here's what's gonna happen right here and right now. Okay.
All right, boss.
You are gonna lead us to the gate of this city.
Can do, boss.
All right. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, go.
All right. Just want to warn you, boss.
Yeah.
You got enough to cover all of us?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's go.
I'm sure our friends back here probably can get us in.
Well,
So we don't know.
not to mention you've probably got enough trinkets to get everybody.
I think we can handle it.
Yeah.
I think
we can get in.
patrons- I think
Yeah,
our
I think we can
patrons
get
might
in
have
with
this.
clout rather than gold.
Yeah.
Like,
So
yeah.
do we know how much gold? Do we?
No, we don't.
We don't yet.
You don't know.
So as we start walking, we'll say, how much are they charging to get into the city these days? To the goblin. That's
So, last time I was there, one, got called bandits. Didn't like that. Got hit a lot.
Well, you were attempting banditry, to be fair.
technically.
I don't know that that's actually right, but
That
you're the
is
boss, so we're gonna say we'll splitsies on it and say that we weren't, but that you are confused and not wrong.
I get it.
So, last time we was there, they said that normal upstanding folk probably have paperwork or the 50 gold required to get in. But, and I don't exactly know what any of this means, perhaps you can explain it to me. Cretinous little miscreants like you will never get in unless you find a way to kidnap my mother. And also, I don't love my mother that much, you'll never get in. I don't know what that means. But I assume it means it costs a little bit more for us.
For a more basic translation, it
Alright.
means no matter how much you had, he would never let you in.
So just a lot more rich stuff.
He was lying to you. No,
Okay.
He was lying because he doesn't like you.
That's hurtful.
It is. Granted, I don't like you either.
You know, I can't. You've been running
I don't
around
wanna murder you
abandoning people. You
anymore.
know.
Again, not doing that. But again, you are.
Again,
Well, no, you weren't because you weren't very successful. You got some teeth.
You were like banning.
did your former boss ever wave his hands and say some funny words and things just changed in front of him?
Define funny words, because a lot of the words that you use are funny as well.
I'll show him.
I'll go prestidigitation, but say the arcane words for it, and like have like 50 pigeons fly out of my sleeves.
Yes, a lot of stuff like that. It was very strange. We used to tell boss, there's absolutely no reason that you need to make so many women appear out of nowhere. There's lots outside. You can just go talk to them. But he was always like talking about it.
Fascinating.
They don't talk to him, and so he's got to practice. I don't exactly know what that was about.
What's your first memory?
Let's see. I do remember that I was sitting in a chair, and Georgie was across from me. And Georgie was also in a chair, but
Yeah, that's right.
he wasn't awake. And then Georgie woke up, and I said to him, I said, Georgie, buddy, we gotta go. We gotta go. This chair's uncomfortable. It's entirely too small. It's got no padding. We should do something about that. Upgrade these chairs. Make them more
God, how's
comfortable.
wrong with the chairs?
Do you know what a child is? Do you understand
Look,
what a child is? Were you ever a child? I think I'm breaking their brains. Maybe I'm going a little too fast.
Is there women?
I mean, there's women everywhere, boss. There's women back there. I mean,
Have
No,
you
I-
ever seen a woman like you?
ain't no women like me, boss. I'm all man. You know what I'm saying? Hey.
I think, based on all my observations, I'm going to show you a paper that just says poorly created homunculi, underlined like 4 times.
I see.
Yeah.
So
They're alchemical constructs, essentially. Wizard or alchemist or artificer imbued them with a semblance of life. Clearly, he didn't get it all right. That explains both their verbose vocabulary as well as their lack of memories and being kicked to the curb. He must have been pretty terrible at his job.
Also, upon closer observation, I can see that they don't have junk.
Do they not?
they definitely don't.
Take your sackcloth off. Immediately.
You know, we used to tell old boss that was a weird request, but we just got used to it. So, sure. Take it out.
Yeah, you see, no junk.
Ken Doll Smooth.
Kendall Smooth.
Definitely an indicator. Good work, Eric.
Somebody has some explaining to do. That's all I know.
Yeah, we should probably get to the bottom of this.
Well, Georgies, let me first say on behalf of all arcanists and people who meddle with the arcane, I'm sorry that you were gifted with sentience. Sorry about that. Let me get that out of the way, first and foremost.
Again, this is another case of them clearly not
You
understanding
perhaps
what
should
you're saying.
have remained the lumpen matter that you were created from. So, but there's nothing we can do about it now. So you may as well live the fullest Georgie life you can live.
We can get behind that, boss. And all the Georges are like, I like this guy.
Irresponsible. I'm gonna just grumble under my breath about frivolous wastes of magic.
So they lead you clearly, like just swiftly through the woods to the
Beeline right there.
beeline right to the road. Once you're on the road, it's a lot quicker moving through, and yeah, you come across this now.
So is she already in by the time we get
She's
there?
already in my time.
Okay.
Alright, so we should probably plan this out. Alright. So we're gonna talk amongst ourselves.
Alright.
Like, walking on the road. So I'm gonna say, to be able to get them in, the guards already said that they would. We should probably dress them up as small children and then put them with the rest of the crowd.
Well, Tori, you said you came from a somewhat small village, farming mostly, I'm guessing.
Farming and other, things like that.
You're a capable warrior. You seem like an intelligent person, but you should leave this to us. When you have money, as these people clearly do, and not so much sense, these kind of things just tend to resolve themselves. If we have these people say they want to get the Georgies in the city, it's not going to be a problem. I guarantee you that.
Well, okay. We'll see if your plan works. I'll just put my snout up in there.
Oh, not
I'm
trying
gonna-
to insult you. I'm just saying
I'm gonna have to agree.
you don't come from a money background. That's all.
I'm gonna do a quick head count and make
Yeah,
sure that we
because
have
the maid
enough.
move,
I'm gonna run back and kind of
Also,
see if I can feel like
I
we can
mean,
more
I have my
important people.
acceptance letter to college. I'm probably getting in there.
I want to see who like, start pulsing people and kind of ask who is more important, like finding out what kind of real quickly what people's feel.
Do we got like a duke or an earl or a baron
So you don't have any
Of those.
of
or a
those.
duke of earl?
Are there any religious figures? Nothing like that.
Well, you have Sir Roderick, who's just he's like a Kennedy.
Sure.
Whoa!
But like one of the like shitty ones.
Yeah, like one of the shitty ones. He's not.
He's Kenny, bro. I mean,
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, exactly.
He didn't get into office,
Yeah.
but you know he still was given one of the.
He's like Lance Land.
but he still showed up in the papers for like really terrible things.
Yeah, he was given one of the family businesses that nobody gave a shit about, i.e., indoor plumbing.
Literally.
Kennedy's
literally
indoor
gives a
plumbing.
shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he's related to people who are important. You got a lot of those, and you're starting to get the idea that this was kind of a party boat for fuck ups.
Right.
We're gonna cruise the ports around the world.
It's kind of like rich kids and business execs with too much time and too much money and not a lot of sense.
Okay.
Incidentally, what was the name of the ship? I don't think I ever caught that.
Oh, it was ironically ish. It's the Kraken.
Of
The crack in this side of the boat.
got him.
Yeah, it's the Kraken.
Okay, so I'm gonna go get Roderick, and I'm gonna walk with him again. Like this time, we'll bring him up to the front to the group where we're kind of just talking over our plan, and I'm gonna get him to start like kind of like opening up about his ability in the city and who he knows. I just want to ask, hey, is there any way that you think you could maybe vouch for me and my buddies here and our new friends? I think these guys could be a real help to us, and my buddy Garrick here he really wants to look into them. I think it's he's really interested in what these guys get going on. Is there any way you could help us get into the city?
Starved homunculi are more interesting than starved goblins. That's for sure.
So he looks at you two and he's like, "Oh, I suppose you lost your paperwork in the shipwreck. Most of us did."
Right. Yeah. Right. And I got it so recently that I don't think they're gonna remember who we are. So you know how it is.
It's a problem. I lose my paperwork
Well, I have
more
mine.
often than I'd like to admit.
Got mine right
Oh, very good, sir.
in my school case.
It's a good idea. I think I'll start doing that myself. I've
There's
lost
nothing
mine more
watertight.
often than I'd like to admit.
Of course.
Drunken
Made by
strippers
dwarves.
in the evenings,
Ah.
that sort of thing. Yeah,
That's
in any
heavy,
case,
heavy,
absolutely.
right?
As for these,
Yeah, it's-
Orc hide, actually.
Oh.
it's been my experience that if you spin a tale interesting enough, the guards are reasonable gents.
What kind of system of... Never mind. I'm not going to get into it.
Sure. So I think I could help you out if you need some assistance. How about do me a favor when we get up here to these gates, right? Do you want to go ahead and we'll stay back and you maybe talk to the guard. You wave me up if you need any help explaining the situation and see if you can't vouch for us and get us in the city.
Sure.
Say, in the meantime,
Mm-hmm.
I think I might need a place to stay for a few days. I'm coming back in between jobs, and I'm just coming back here to get some things reestablished. Do you happen to know of any places to rent, or have any properties of your own that you might be willing to let me crash in? Something small. I could stay in a warehouse. That would be fine.
Well, good sir. Warehouse. What do you think happens when you evict 50,000 people from a city? Space opens up.
Wow.
There are plenty of properties that my family have been developing. I'm sure one of them could house you and your
Acquired for
companions.
pennies on the dollar. Yeah,
You and your companions could stay there.
Really, I couldn't take up some space in a residential unit. I would prefer to stay in. I really prefer tinkering with my inventions, and I think being in a situation away from residence would be much better for me. But if really anything is fine, I don't want to impose.
If you need a space for research and development, my family, of course, has some laboratories that we keep. Of course,
Laboratories.
any use of the laboratories, my father would kill me if I allowed those laboratories to be used for
Oh, certainly
free.
not. I certainly wouldn't. Any what kind of payment are we looking at here?
Well, I'm sure that Father would request that any and all discoveries be accredited to the family as your patron, as well as certain beneficial contracts for use of any useful technologies and arcana is developed.
Okay, I think that sounds reasonable.
I'll keep my mouth shut.
Okay, let's get past these gates and we'll talk once we get into town. I like the sound of this.
Absolutely, I'd love to introduce you to Father.
Father.
Head.
Yeah. Big head Ted.
This D8 is rolling great for me.
This is
Not
all
only
your
wasting
goodness.
all the
Don't
good
waste
ones,
it.
yeah.
All right, so you hit the gates, and Sir Roderick walks ahead, but of course, like, okay, so you like just standing back, or are you standing in the woods, like off to the side?
We're gonna be standing like right behind, like front and center, like, hey, we're not hiding anything, but there was just a terrible.
Where are the Georgies?
The Georgies are gonna be off.
I don't care.
I'm gonna kind of corral them off to the side, and I'll be standing
Yeah,
with them.
take
I'll be like
control.
their like representative up at the front.
Yeah, I was saying, I passed control totally off.
These guys are.
Like,
I mean, you guys are standing up
concerned
in
with
front
the
of the
Georgies?
It's their shit show now.
yeah, exactly.
I'm kind of like slapping them on the head, like to get their shit right, because they're just like all over the place.
Yeah.
Just chill out for
You
like
need
10 minutes.
a squirt bottle.
Yeah, really. No. So you see Roderick walk up, and you see him talk to the guards, and everything seems to be running smoothly. They're kind of like chummy.
So this is probably like sundown then.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
about to it's getting dark. But yeah, so you see them kind of like shaking hands,
Walk
you know,
20 10 miles.
having some back and forth conversation, and then the guards turn and they freeze, and you see the lead Georgie standing there, and he's just got his eyes on the guard, and the guard's looking at him, and you see him turn back to Roderick, and he's like,
Oh, okay, and this is where I'm gonna go. Hold on, guys, and I'm gonna sort of fast run walk, like up there, and sort of stammer in, and before I can get any words out,
Yeah.
I think like
yeah, you just hear, listen, Sir Roderick, I don't think you understand what you've got along with you. You don't want any parts of this. I don't think your father wants any parts of this. I think if you were here, he would say you leave them, you go home. What happened? I mean, he's probably going to ask what happened to his ship.
Oh shit, his dad owned the ship.
And I think what you should focus on right now is explaining exactly what happened. This is the third one this month. Listen, this is what you want to focus on.
Hey, so Roderick, is there a problem? Are we? Are we
Yeah,
having
I'll
an
be
issue here?
walking in his wake.
Are we having an issue? Are we doing anything wrong
I'm just
here?
gonna
What's
sit down on the ground and just start meditating.
And he's gonna turn and he's gonna see Moralist walking up with just like the top hat and just kind of like tinkerer's tools hanging off in various parts on his, and the purple velour cloak over armor.
It's dry now, but it's slightly ruined.
Yeah.
Rude.
Sees, and then he sees Haturo sitting on the ground meditating, and he's like, Sir Roderick, how do you acquire these people? It's impressive. It really is. Okay. So you, who are you? And Sir Roderick starts to speak up, and he's like, you're in enough trouble as it is. I want to hear them.
You're in enough trouble. Do you let hired? I'm gonna be looking at Sir Roger. Do you let guards talk to you that way in this city?
His dad's like The captain of the guard.
I'm gonna. Yes, I am Garrick McCallan, of the McCallan Dwarf, trading empire. We have McCallan East based here. I'm here to answer my letter of acceptance to the College of Transmutation, and I'll hand it to him.
Takes your paperwork, reads it over. He actually pulls out a small device. Looks like almost like a crystal with notches in it, so it's for easy holding. And he kind of runs it along the paper, and you see a seal light up on it. And puts it back, rolls it back up. I apologize, Mr. McCallan. Certainly, your entrance is granted, and please welcome to Arcadia Grange. We do hope that you'll enjoy some of the upgrades we've made to the city recently.
Oh, I've heard about the upgrades, and I'm not trying to be rude, but we've walked 20 miles today. Our ship, the Kraken, apparently owned by this fellow's father, was destroyed by a gigantic reptilian beast in your waters here.
You hear
And
him
we need to report that. And I'm gonna be my beard bristling, frustrated because we had to walk 20 goddamn miles in one day.
He's gonna.
Not used to walking that much.
You see him kind of
Sorry. Sorry for yelling.
I'm sorry for yelling.
he furrows his brow for a second. He's like, was there? Weird question. I realize this. Was there an elf on that ship? Like
There were
woman?
several elves, yes.
A woman, had a longbow, 2 short swords.
Oh,
Yes,
Sort
and she
of-
was extremely rude. I talked to her and I said, "Hey, what's going on here?" And she was just so rude. I can't. Yes,
well, I don't
she
know about
was-
rude, but yeah, she was on the ship. She was working as I think a guard of some kind. She's a pretty capable fighter from what I saw.
So you say that the ship was destroyed by some large beast out on the water.
Yes, it certainly was. We were all shipwrecked.
This
So I would suggest we have several noble people here who I'm sure you may recognize, but I would request that maybe you let us all in for the night. We've been walking, all day.
Did she jump on this beast and ride it away?
Yes, she did. We thought she was dead. Did she make her way to the city?
He's gonna turn to the other guy.
Yeah, serious.
No, yeah, she's inside. She apparently knows some people at the Hunters Guild.
That makes perfect sense to me. I mean,
Yes, that sounds right. That sounds accurate.
You just hear mumbles of, we really need to update our policies for getting people in here. Alright, anyway, yes, of course, sir, we can let you in. These are your companions. They're with you.
well, good. Do we need to fill out an accident report, or how do we report this? There's when I say giant, I mean bigger than a castle-sized beast. We didn't even see its head. It was just its back out of the water, right?
It destroyed the Kraken, so...
It destroyed it in that it, bumped into it, probably didn't even notice it had bumped into it, and then swam away.
You see his face still holds a lot of skepticism, and as you're describing, he just keeps looking over at Sir Roderick, and Sir Roderick's kind of like... he knows you're telling the truth, but he still seems like... He's like, alright.
Look, you all saw this, right? I'll look back at the...
And he's gonna point at Sir Roderick, and Sir Roderick's gonna be like, alright, I kind of used a pretty similar story last time I destroyed one of my dad's ships. That's not really what happened last time I destroyed one of my dad's ships. It's gonna be a little difficult to convince anybody.
When you have 60 eyewitnesses, it's difficult to convince somebody.
Yeah.
What are your city full of corrupt and inept cops?
I have a lot of parties on my dad's ships.
Well, there was several parties going on, from my recollection, but
So,
doesn't mean it's not true.
people don't like to piss off my dad, so they just go along with the stories that I tell.
Here's a question: do you have clerics in this city?
Yeah, we totally do.
Yeah, they can cast a spell called the Zone of Truth.
Yeah, I know. It's a real buzzkill
Yeah, I guess
when my
so.
dad gets to come. It's a real downer, man.
I can quite imagine.
What about it, man?
ZOTS. If you don't believe multiple people, noble people in their waterlogged, salty, sweat-stained clothes from walking all day for no reason, which they've never done in their lives before.
Through the woods.
I guess you need the zone of truth to verify our story. I'm gonna look expectantly at the guard when I say that.
You've never dealt with Sir Roderick. He goes to some pretty extreme lengths when he knows his father is going to be upset. But I'm not saying that I don't believe you. I'm just saying that we need to verify the truth. But we'll let you in. And he's kind of like pointing out some of the others who are trying to like hide behind. He's like, I know all of your parents. All of them. I'm going to let them know.
So, wait a minute. So is this like mostly like younger people in this crowd? I never really thought to ask
Yeah.
that.
Like 35 and younger.
But you said there were a couple kids.
They're like 30 and younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There were a couple like single moms with
Yeah.
their kids on the boat.
Just a bunch of
It
irresponsible.
was a mom vacation. That's all.
Yeah.
But so
They died.
they're just like, you see here like a collective slump behind you as they all realize they're not getting away with this one. But the guard also turns and he's like, but them. No, come on. Why? Look at them. They're goblins. They're bandits.
I mean,
Actually, if you'll take my notes here, and I'll hand him like
No,
very
no.
detailed and a fine.
Before you do that,
hand.
I'm gonna say, oh, they don't like that.
Oh yes, they don't appreciate that appellation. Also, if you'll see my notes here, I believe these creatures are actually alchemical homunculi, created by some sort of artificer, alchemist, or wizard. They seem fuzzy on the details, and I think they merit further study. And leaving them in their own devices in the forest, it's what's the word I'm looking for here? A travesty. Like it's a horrible thing to do to sentient beings. You understand? They can barely fend for themselves.
He's kind of giving you the same looks Roderick was earlier. I'm not seeing the problem.
Also, they're interesting and merit further study.
so these are my pets.
That's not the line I was going to go with, but
It's right out there now.
All right. Both of you can give me. Both of you give me persuasion.
I'm gonna help you on that.
how?
I don't.
Okay.
Because I have persuasion, and I'll
Yeah, but
work
you gotta
it with you.
You gotta give me a reason.
Oh,
How are you helping? He's going the homunculi route. He's
I
going.
mean, you
the
could
pet
just
route.
like nod at my like notes and be like, oh, yep, that's right.
Yeah, we're gonna
Like,
book.
yeah,
We'll know that.
By the book. Yeah.
just giving a very wise sort of like
Projecting a wise aura.
I'm just
Okay.
gonna wrap my
Alright.
arm around him and just be like, look at the notes, and they all look the same.
Wait, does he get a roll too? Do I get a roll too?
Yeah, both of you get to roll.
Let's see, 14. Oh, I'm trained in that. I rolled a 16.
16 total.
My plus
No,
3.
17.
17 total. Yeah, you plus 3.
Yeah, so 14, 17.
So you both rolled a 17.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna look at you and he's gonna go. You're lucky my family doesn't specialize in any of this arcane nonsense. I feel like you're lying.
No. Why would I lie about that?
Trust me, this guy does not lie.
I don't know. I feel like you're lying, but I can't tell.
A cursory examination by anyone with alchemical or arcane knowledge would reveal the findings that I've.
Which is why I'm gonna let you through. Because if you're lying, they'll kick you out. And with that sort
Dwarves
of,
don't lie.
and also with that sort of entry letter you got there, I think you know better than to lie about something like that. So I'm gonna let you through. You You're now responsible for them.
Yes, sir.
I'm logging it.
I'll put them right in their cages as soon as we get back home.
They're coming in with you. Don't cause any trouble.
Okay.
You hear me?
And I'm gonna kind of catch out of the corner of my eye. I'm gonna look down at Georgie 1.
Mm-hmm.
Georgie
Georgie
One.
One.
Do like the just come here,
Georgie
contact. And then right back up to the guard briefly,
Mm-hmm.
just enough to be like, you owe me one.
Georgie one's like, alright, man. Alright, so I'm also going to need an intimidation check on the Georgies. For that, you owe me one.
It's charisma.
It's also charisma.
Oh yeah.
Are you trained?
What does that mean?
I don't know.
You're not, so you don't have proficiency.
But you add 3 to this roll.
Can I assist him on
Just
that
one
too?
die.
Just one die. Huh?
Can I assist him on that? Cause
No, this is straight
Straight Steve.
8 plus 3, 11.
what about
That's not bad.
So,
I mean, they're-
so Georgie one's like, hey, alright, man. But then as soon as, like, you all start flowing through, the guard's keeping an eye on the Georgies. As soon as you start to pass through, Georgie one goes, I guess I got your mother, didn't I? And he just, like, scuttles through. And he just, like, scuttles through.
I go, I am so sorry.
He's like,
I'm so
Just
sorry.
go.
just go. And yeah, the Georgies.
uppity little bugger.
George is just kind of like skipping behind you. They don't run, they skip. So they're just like skipping
Oh, I
behind you.
didn't know that. Yeah.
Alright, so, yeah, so you head into the city. You definitely see these pylons, both of you see them with their arcane
I'm
symbols
gonna take out
on
the
them.
stone that I looted from the Georgies. Like, wait.
Oh yeah.
No.
I feel like the Georgies are so happy.
What are you checking out?
I'm just looking all around. This is not a city I've ever seen before.
What? Can you describe the city a little bit?
Yes.
So, it is enormous. It's miles wide. It's miles wide. The area that you've entered into is very clearly set up to accommodate large numbers of people entering at once. It is a large square. On the sides, there are buildings that look like they are good for like if somebody wanted to register their equipment or register themselves with the city.
Sure.
It's got those sort of municipal buildings that you would
Mhm.
see at the beginning of a city if it's got a booming trade. It's got some inns, public houses, marketplaces. But it's a large open area, and it's bustling with people. The thing is that whereas in most cities that you've ever encountered before, it'd be bustling with all kinds of people.
Yeah.
This is a very sterile looking. Everything's very clean, very gleaming. Very high quality fabrics, and everybody who's shopping looks like they've got quite a bit of money. It's almost as if this town is, well, and as you know, is made up completely of people of wealth.
But they don't have a proletariat to it.
That's what
so
I.
how does this
That's
work?
my question is.
Yeah.
Who's the cashiers? Who's the guys working in the stock rooms and making everything
I
work?
guess we're
And
gonna find out.
cleaning the
Yeah.
place.
And that's what you plan to find out. And we'll dive into that next time.
Oh. All right.
Sweet.